A smart house designer is an architect who creates convenient home setups where appliances and devices can be automatically controlled remotely from any internet-connected place in the world, using a mobile or other networked device. Smart houses offer increased energy efficiency, maximize security, and improve the functionality of all appliances. Today on 48 Hours, we'll be looking at the career of a smart house designer. 48 Hours, own your future. Casey is an energetic young lady who loves design and architecture. She gets her inspiration from her architect dad, who has spurred her on to take her interest in design and architecture further and broaden her scope to become a smart house designer. Let's meet this creative genius.
I developed the passion for smart house designing after watching a movie that included IT in it, and that inspired me to take it on in the future. I'm so passionate for smart house design because I definitely think it's a big part of our future. Everyone will be using smart house design in the future. It definitely is a way to let people live in comfort through the simplest way. It helps out with time. Even if someone is sick, they can use the technology to just make life easier for them. The fourth industrial revolution opened up a big window for new technology, new ideas, futuristic inventions that can happen. It inspires other people who can think of new inventions to do, and that ultimately helps us progress as humans to develop our way of life. 48 Hours can help me achieve my dream through the promoting of myself on the show, and it does definitely open up experiences such as meeting a new entrepreneur and learning what other companies have and what they do in their business and how they run their business. I'm on my way to meet Leago. She's a lecturer by day and a smart house designer by night. I'm very excited to meet her.
Meet smart house designer Leago. She holds a master's in technology and architecture and is currently working on her PhD. She loves drawing and cooking and kicks off every day with meditation and a good breakfast. Her creativity feeds her passion for architecture, and she finds inspiration from helping people.
Thank you very much for having me today. My first question is, how did you first start your career as an architect?
Oh, it's a pleasure, Casey. So my interest in architecture was sparked in high school. Fun fact, I actually wanted to be a neurologist, and because I love to help people, so all along I've always thought that I was going to do medicine. But I had art at school, and I was quite good with it. I was also quite good with maths and science and everything else. But then I really was looking for a career that would encompass both, so because I'm also very critical, I'm analytical, but I'm also creative. So how do these two meet together, and where do they meet? So I think when I was doing grade 11, I started doing research on careers. I attended so many open days. And I finally went to the Department of Architecture at a few universities. My art teacher also told me that I'd make a great architect. And I think it was from there when I realized that, yes, this is the thing that I want to do.
What is the difference between an architect and a smart house designer?
I think that the difference between the two would be the output on who produces what and to what extent. As an architect, you have more experience and more rigor to deal with complex issues such as socio-political issues, materials, where to source different types of materials, what alternative materials to use. Whereas as in the case of a smart house designer that didn't have access to a full-on architectural education, I think that in terms of the deliverables, it might be a bit limiting or limited.
What interests you about this career of smart house designing?
I'm very much interested in the way that people live and the way that the environment is responding. I'm quite aware that we need to really change the way that we're continuing to build. We're quite wasteful in the way that we build, in the way that we put materials together. And also global warming, I think for me is quite a pertinent thing. So I think in terms of smart buildings, smart design, eco-friendly and sustainable buildings, I really think that we owe that to the earth.
What qualifications does one need to become a smart house designer?
I think in terms of a smart house designer, first of all, an architect can be a smart house designer. But I also feel that people who also are quite familiar with software, things that are, yes, linked to informatics, information technology, and also multimedia.
What skills do I need to become a smart house designer?
I think you have to be creative. Creativity is the underarching umbrella, but also to be quite empathetic or sensitive and understanding to how people live, the needs of people, because in one way or another you are responding to the need, which is to house, you know. So I think that you really have to be a people's person in one way or another so that you can respond in the best way possible, yeah.
Thank you very much for that, Leago. Would you please show me some work experience?
Sure, let's go.
Coming up after the break, Casey gets some practical experience as a smart house designer, and Leago gives Casey an unusual but interesting task. Stay tuned to see if Casey makes the grade. Welcome back. Before the break, we met architect and design student Casey. After hearing about her passion for smart house design, we decided to hook her up with smart house designer Leago, who's giving her some insight into this career. Time to catch up with them.
So for today, we're going to respond to a client's brief. The client wants a bathroom. And in the bathroom, she says that the bathroom is a sacred space where she takes a bath after a very long day at work. Her taste was, she loves neutral colors and she loves earthy tones and earthy textures, you know. We're basically creating a spa-like environment in her bathroom, okay? So before we even take it there and before we go to the digital world, you always draft things on paper and you plan so that when you go and do the research, you are very strategic and you know what exactly you're looking for, right? So, first question is the actual presentation, the layout.
Leago gets the help of Casey to prepare a presentation for a client who has commissioned her to create a designer bathroom. Casey helps Leago with the layout and the thought process with the design.
This side, I think your sketches, your rough drafts, and then your final presentation.
Okay.
Before locking down their final presentation, Leago took a moment to give us her first impressions of Casey.
When I first met Casey, I thought she was quite shy and timid, but when I started engaging with her, she's quite enthusiastic.
So today I learned a lot about what is required to go into smart house designing, from presentations of color palettes, setting up my panels. The example we did was bathrooms, so the materials you need, the lighting, textures, everything that I need to know and how to present it towards my client.
All right, Casey, now that I've given you a sneak peek into my life, I have a task for you. So your task will be to analyze this building and design a social space where students can gather and catch up, but that really responds to smart housing technologies. So you're gonna design it for me and then present it back to me.
So the task I was given was to come up with a new edition of a design that I can use in a smart way to add to the building that Leago works in. And after analysing the building, I decided that I want to come up with a space for students to chill and relax and skate as well. And putting that on paper was, I had to draw, colour and think critically in the situation. It was a very fast design that I came up with, but it was very fun to partake in. Okay. Okay. So after analyzing outside, I decided there's two main areas that I wanted to focus on. It's the area where all the students chill because of the shading, and then there is a dead space that students use to skate, even though it wasn't designed for skating. So I wanted to use that in my design and integrate them together as one. So what I thought of is having, instead of a level ground, we'll have a ground that curves so that people can skate, and not only will the skating part curve, but so the grass will curve as well for people to chill on and watch their friends skate. Also, it can be designed in such a way that if it's not being used for skating, people can relax in that area, chill, sit down. Some places will be higher for you to sit, some lower for you to lay down. And then using that, I would like to keep the fact that we do have trees planted there already, so we can keep the existing trees there, and this area ascent, so we can keep that factor as well. Then through that, I've designed a type of canopy pod thing that would cover the students laying down with shading. This will also include the technology part, the smart idea. So solar panels will be on top while shading is provided for the sun. That will then provide maybe a plug point for the students to plug in their laptops and charge their phones. Also, they can maybe connect to the speaker wirelessly to play a little music. Lighting will be provided from the solar panel for day and night. So if it's raining in the day and you underneath here and you need light, you can use that. Or at night, if you're laying there, you can use the lighting. Another idea was to include maybe slats within the canopy so that it's not completely closed off. There'll be ventilation going through. You can open it. If it's too much sun, you can close it. And then it'll basically curve. It'll be in 3D. It'll kind of curve like a wave-like structure so that it can still be similar to the design of the landscape. This is the final design basically. So the main footpath is from the student centre and the parking to go towards the bridge, and from the SEH. So it'll be nice for students to walk from that side and that side, and maybe even to open up an entrance from the design cafe so students can walk directly from this and we can use this space as well.
I think overall Casey is quite a strong designer, and I say strong quite carefully in the sense that she has a very clear way of thinking, and which is a great strength or something great to have, is to be able to communicate your thoughts quite clearly to the next person. And then she also really was not afraid to make bold moves and to tackle quite a big sort of site, given the time limitations that she had. And the only thing that I think that Casey could perhaps work on is to really trust herself more and to trust the skills that she has. It's there already, but I just feel that she lacks a bit of confidence. I like the fact that the structure is responding to the landscape. So you just didn't design this in isolation. That's a very good thing to do, is to always consider context before you actually start. And I actually like this diagram where you started analyzing how people are moving, where people are coming from, and you even took it further by proposing sort of shortcuts. Very well done.
Thank you.
Well done. Casey, I think that you're a talented young designer. I just wish that you trust yourself a little bit more. Never lose hope. Practice drawing. Draw every day. Work hard. I think talent goes quite well with hard work. And I'm very, very proud of you. It was such a pleasure to work with you today.
It's the end of my first day of 48 hours. It was a very exciting day, and I'm so excited to meet the entrepreneur tomorrow.
Coming up after the break, Casey meets entrepreneur Greg, who is the founder and owner of Touch Home Technologies. welcome back. Before the break, we met Casey, who wants to be a smart house designer. We hooked her up with Leago, who showed her what goes into the career of a smart house designer. Now we introduce her to entrepreneur Greg Lang, who's going to tell her everything she wants to know about starting a business as a smart house designer. First, let's catch up with Casey to see how she felt about her first day on the job.
I've had an amazing first day with 48 hours, and just when I thought it couldn't get better, 48 hours hooked me up with a real go-getter. Today I'm going to meet Greg. He owns a company called Touch Home Technologies. Today I would like to learn everything I need to know about smart house design and all the technology that is involved with it, as well as all the entrepreneur skills in running the business. Come with me.
48 hours went behind the scenes to give our candidate the lowdown on who she's about to meet. Let's hope this gives Casey a leg up with her pitch.
Did I have a passion and always had a passion for this industry? I'd have to say no. I think when I was younger, this industry didn't exist. I have, however, always had a passion for technology, seeing how it's been utilized in cars back in the day and seeing how upmarket cars with electric windows and aircon and climate control and security systems and that sort of stuff. It always made me curious, why don't houses have the same sort of technology? We spend more time in our houses. Why don't houses have the same stuff that our luxury cars do? And I think that's where it started. And it's been a snowball effect since then. I think we started so long ago and before the industry really was an industry, and that was the break, I think, in itself. We didn't have a whole lot of competition at the time, which made it very easy for us to break into and actually be part of the creation of the industry. Personal challenges in this career, I think I'd have to say, is a lot of learning. You know, technology in any industry, when it comes to technology, it's always evolving and it's always changing. I think in the automation and smart home industry in itself, it's just such a rapid growth. There's just so much going on. Everybody is trying to get involved. Every ounce of technology that goes into your home now is able to be connected and integrated with something else. So the challenge is to try and stay on top of it constantly and make sure that you are at the forefront of whatever's going down. So yeah, lots of learning, lots of reading, lots of research.
Greg, thank you very much for having me today. My first question is, what motivated you to start your own business?
I think, to be totally fair, it wasn't so much about starting my own business. I've always had a passion for smart homes and the technology. You know, when we started this business going back 13 years ago, it was still so new. And I think just the idea of what was possible with technology and what hadn't been utilized in homes at that time sparked me to start sort of looking into the future, what was going to be possible, and that was the inspiration. It wasn't so much about being an entrepreneur and starting my own business. It was more about, how do I introduce this technology that I really like and I really enjoy, and how do I make it a reality in our everyday lives?
What did you think you could add to the industry when you started your own company?
Well, I must be honest, I think in this industry it was quite easy. You know, 15 years ago, there wasn't really a huge market when it came to smart homes. So it was really left to ourselves and a handful of other small businesses to really drive the technology and the concept of a smart home into the market. So it was relatively easy for us. There was a whole lot happening. It really was left to us to design and work out how we wanted and what we wanted the technology to do, and to introduce it into an environment that wasn't really familiar at the time.
Did you have any fears or reservations when you started your business?
I think everybody who starts a business or does anything new that they haven't done before will always come with an element of fear. So yes, of course. But at the same time, you've got to sort of balance it out and realize where's the rewards. You know, to be totally fair, you know, taking that risk and embarking on something that's unfamiliar to you, and especially when we started in this industry all those years ago, it was such a new industry. There was no one else really doing it. There were so few products on the market that could do it. You know, the market and the people in the country, especially South Africa, it was such a new concept. Are we going to be able to get customers? Are people going to embrace this technology? Are they going to see the value? Of course, you know, and I think the beauty and what makes it so valuable at the end of the day is that you follow your heart, you keep on slogging through, you keep on pushing, and when it does eventually become a success, and you do sort of hit that little switch and everything ticks over, and it makes it all worthwhile.
Okay, Greg, so the idea that I came up with came from a design that I did in first year, and we were required to do a pod with any use, and it could be placed anywhere. So what I did was I created a medicinal pod for anyone who is sick, So maybe you're suffering from diabetes, asthma, and you need just a space to go into and do your things quickly, maybe take a rest. So from there, what I did was explore different shapes, and I came up with this main design of my pod. And what the design includes is different spaces for anyone who's using it to maybe lay down. Someone who's waiting can sit down on the outside. On the inside, you're laying down, you can use the counter, the table, get rid of your disposable waste through a nice, safe place, and it can get disposed from. Through that, I came up with an idea that maybe we can make this medicinal pod more comfort and convenient for the person using it by using the technology that you work with. So an idea was for lighting, we could have something that adjusts lighting to a less light so someone can rest, or more light if they need to use their equipment. Temperature, if someone's very hot and they need to cool themselves down, they can change the temperature. Motion sensors, so if someone's inside, they can maybe the motion sensor can trigger an alarm outside that will alert someone waiting for them that something's not wrong within the pod. And ventilation for fresh air, purifies the air, gives them clean air to breathe.
So look, I think you've ticked all the major boxes. I think the trick here would be is to try and keep it as simple and practical as possible. A couple of things I might suggest, just off the top of my head, would certainly be some sort of a Wi-Fi connection. So as the guys go in, they can at least then access their data and do their surfing, or listen to some music. Another thing I'd possibly look at considering is some sort of charging station. I think anyone who's going to be in there might be taking a laptop or a cell phone that might need to be charged so they keep themselves entertained. I think anything more than that, I think you've ticked all the boxes. Genuinely, I think it's a great concept. It's something that I think I certainly haven't seen it before, and I think there is definitely a place for it. I could definitely see it going into airports, the shopping centres, that sort of stuff. Certainly people that have, I see it in airports especially, you come off a flight, you're a little bit jet lagged, or you've got a little bit of low blood pressure. It's a place to go chill out and catch a breath. I think it's a great idea. I think it's a great fit for technology as well. And I think it's a small enough project to run a pilot, and let's see how it goes. Let's build one, let's get it out there, and let's ask the community and what the people in South Africa think about it.
We've come to the end of a jam-packed 48 hours, but we'd like to do something that makes life just a wee bit better for Casey.
So Casey, it's been absolutely amazing having you here today and showing you around and some of the cool stuff that we do. It always does get me very excited to see the youth getting involved and getting excited about the same technology. And I'd like to extend an offer. I don't know if you would like to come and spend 2 or 3 days with myself and a couple of guys from my team to go through some of the houses at various different levels of installation. So you can at least see exactly what goes into designing a smart home, what goes to project managing and implementing the actual physical installations, all the way down to programming. And we can maybe get you behind a laptop and you can program a little bit of some smart home gear.
Definitely, that'll be so nice. Thank you.
Awesome. Well, you let me know when you're ready to come through. Give me a shout and we'll set it up.
Well, thank you very
It's a
much.
pleasure.
Thank you. I'm so excited to partake in that and learn everything he has in store for me. Thank you to Leago and Greg for everything they taught me, and a big thank you to 48 Hours for giving me this opportunity.
If you want to be part of the 48-hour experience, contact us on our social media page. Or if you're interested in more careers, go to our YouTube page and get inspired.